Hi, my name is Ken Howard. I'm a lifetime resident of Clackamas County, except for a year at Portland State. And my primary interest is on the Constitution of the United States and how it relates to what's going on locally in Clackamas County, as well as at Oregon level and at the federal level. And I'd like to start with a discussion that I had with Senator Ron Wyden back in January of this year at Milwaukee High School at a town hall that Ron Wyden had. And I asked him a question about what was the constitutional enumerated power that Congress uses to authenticate or justify Obamacare. And his reply to me was that the General Welfare Clause, which is in the Preamble to the Constitution as well as in Article 1, Section 8, is the primary authorization, as well as the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and various other welfare programs. And my question to him, to Senator Wyden, was, well, if Congress can make a law that deals with health care and can force a citizen to purchase a product or service, then what can they not do? And of course, there's no good answer to that from his perspective. But for now, I'd like to talk about the General Welfare Clause and the application of redistribution of wealth at the federal level. The Constitution clearly excludes using of funds from one person or one group to another on the federal level. And I have some quotes here from founding fathers such as Samuel Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, that clearly point out that the interpretation that is currently used by the federal government is not the way the founding fathers intended it. I'd like to start with Samuel Adams. He says the utopian schemes of leveling and a community of goods are as visionary and impractical as those which vest all property in the crown. These ideas are arbitrary, despotic, and in our government, that is the U.S. government, unconstitutional. Dr. Benjamin Franklin wrote, I have long been of your opinion that your legal provision for the poor in England is a very great evil, operating as it does to the encouragement of idleness. We have followed your example and begin now to see our error, and I hope shall reform it. Another quote from Franklin, I am for doing good to the poor, but I differ in opinion of the means. I think the best way of doing good to the poor is not making them easy in poverty, but leading or driving them out of it. In my youth, I traveled much, and I observed in different countries that the more public provisions were made for the poor, the less they provided for themselves, and of course became poorer. And the more they did for themselves and become richer. They that can give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Now I move to Thomas Jefferson. If we can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them, they must become happy. And I think we have more machinery of government than is necessary, too many parasites living on the labor of the industrious. Another quote, a wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, which shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. This is the sum of good government. Congress has not unlimited powers to provide for the general welfare, but only those specifically enumerated. James Madison. I cannot undertake to lay my finger on that article of the Constitution which granted a right to Congress for expending on objects of benevolence the money of their constituents. With respect to the words general welfare, I have always regarded them as qualified by the detail of powers connected with them. To take them in a literal and unlimited sense would be a metamorphosis of the Constitution into the character which there is a host of proofs were not contemplated by its creators. One last quote from Madison. Charity is no part of the legislative duty of the government. I want to mention that the state government, for instance, and local, county, and municipal governments can do redistribution of wealth, general welfare type activities, according to whatever the Constitution of Oregon says. But at the federal level, we have enumerated powers that limit the federal government to certain tasks that they are allowed to do and nothing else. And so I say all this to point out that the federal government is totally out of whack regarding redistribution of wealth. That's not authorized power. And we wish to educate the general public, as I have been interested in studying the Constitution, the Founding Fathers for the last 2 years, that I discovered that the federal government is doing all kinds of things that are unconstitutional and they are not empowered to do. And so I'm asking fellow citizens to start reading the Founding Fathers and start studying the Constitution. Read through it at least once a year and find out what our senators at the federal level and representatives are authorized to do, and then call them to task when they exceed their enumerated powers according to Article 1, Section 8. This would, and the other thing we need to do is to elect senators and representatives at the federal level that will uphold their oath that all of them have given and must give to uphold the Constitution. Thank you.